Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Rock Video Rental. I am Brandon, and I am flying solo this week. Caleb is on vacation, so I'm going to be covering Master of Disguise alone. Before I do that, I got a couple things to mention. I haven't watched really much of anything of like big note. I've been watching Young Sheldon on HBO Max. It's just a good show to have like on in the background, and I don't really have to worry about it because my kids can be around and it's okay. Other than that, uh, I watched the last episode of The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs on Shudder. They announced that they're actually getting rid of the show. He's gonna go down to doing like quarterly episodes. I don't know. The whole thing was kind of confusing, so it wasn't his decision. There it's basically like Shutter's getting rid of the show, and then he is gonna find like a new platform or something like that. I don't know, but they did the last horror show, which is a pretty interesting movie. That was the second movie, and then for whatever reason, I'm blanking on what the first one was. I did my typical watch most of the first movie, fall asleep during it, wake up, see the intro to the second movie, and then fall asleep again. So yeah, I have to go back and watch that. But that's pretty much it. I did get a chance to watch Master of Disguise.
He's the M-A-S-T-E-R of disguise. What you put in front of your eyes? A master of disguise.
So, Master of Disguise, it is from 2002. It is directed by Perry Andelin Blake. The plot is an Italian waiter fights off a criminal mastermind with his inherited powers of disguise. The cast, we got Dana Carvey as Pistachio Disguisey, Jennifer Esposito as Jennifer Baker, Harold Gould as Grandfather Disguisey, James Brolin as Fabrizio Disguisey, Brent Spiner as Devlin Bowman, Austin Wolf as Barney Baker, and Edie McClurg as Mother Disguisey. This is a first time watch for me. I remember when this movie came out, I was probably in like, gosh, ninth grade, maybe eighth grade. But I remember seeing the trailer and seeing the Turtle Man clip where he goes, Turtle, Turtle. And I was like, that looks incredibly stupid. And this is me in eighth grade, and I had no interest in seeing it. Uh, and then I remember people at school talking about it and thinking that the turtle scene was just so funny, and I just didn't get it and had no interest in this movie. But yeah, I guess this podcast is a way to force me to watch this. And also, I've seen other people and stuff on YouTube cover it. I'm like, this movie looks terrible, and it should be part of an awesomely bad month. Um, I gotta start out by saying that I do like Dana Carvey. I think he's genuinely like a funny comic. His stuff he did on SNL was great. I mean, I love Wayne's World 1 and 2, but I don't know what the heck was going on in this movie. And it blew my mind that it was a Happy Madison production. Because, I mean, as weird as some of those Happy Madison movies are, like, this has got to be one of the worst, right? I mean, I haven't seen hardly any of the Netflix ones that people seem to say are terrible, but it's also got to be one of the earlier Happy Madison productions. I mean, I always say if I was a better podcaster, I would look that up, but this has got to be one of the first ones. Um, this was Dana Carvey coming off a long break as well. And then around this time too, he was having a falling out with Mike Myers, who he did a lot of stuff with, including Wayne's World on SNL and um, the movies. Some of the friction between those two came with working together on the Wayne's World movies, where, Dana Carvey is mostly known as like this kind of laid back guy, easy to work with, and then Mike Myers is kind of the exact opposite. But what really made those two like battle with each other and have kind of a feud going on at this time was the whole Austin Powers thing. So, if you don't know, Austin Powers, Dana Carvey was irritated with that because of the Dr. Evil voice. So, the Dr. Evil voice was actually Mike Myers took that from Dana Carvey, who was doing a Lorne Michaels impression. And I guess Dana Carvey was irritated that he wasn't in the movie or that Mike Myers took that and then it kind of blew up. I don't know. But I mean, at this time, Mike Myers is one of the biggest movie stars in the world after the Austin Powers movies. And then he got Dana Carvey, who was like on a hiatus for a while. And then he comes back with this. Like, I almost wish I could go back in time and make those two like make up and then make a Wayne's World 3 instead of this. It would have been way better. So, I mean, diving into the movie, it's like Dana Carvey just basically acts like an idiot in this. I mean, his name is Pistachio Disguisey. It's got to be one of the worst uh, character names ever in a movie, even if it's a comedy. I mean, it's still terrible. But his dad is James Brolin, which is funny. So you got like, smooth talking, suave James Brolin, and then you got like this bumbling idiot of a son. Uh, but Pistachio's mom and dad get um, kidnapped by Brent Spiner's character of Bowman. And Brent Spiner, there's two things I think of him. Well, I guess three, if because one depends on the other one. But he was Mr. Data in Star Trek, The Next Generation. And then the small role he played on an episode of Big Bang Theory where he opened up an autographed Wesley Crusher action figure of Sheldon's, and then he made his enemy list. And then the third thing is, uh, back in the early days of YouTube, and I think it might even predate YouTube, there was Tourette's guy, and he had a segment where he's like lifting weights, and somebody mentions Brett Spiner, and they're like, "Who's that?" And Tourette's guy said, "Yes, he was Data on Star Trek." And then his son's like, "Oh yeah, I wonder what he's up to." And Tourette's guy says he's probably getting fucked in the ass. And that's what I'll forever think of with Brett Spiner, for better or worse. But enough of Tourette's guy, and back to the movie. So his parents get um, kidnapped by Brent Spiner's character, and now he has to try to use his master of disguise abilities with the help of his grandfather and an assistant played by Jennifer Esposito. And then like there's these weird running gags in this where Pistachio is obsessed with women with huge butts. And like he finds himself attracted to Jennifer Esposito even though she doesn't have a big butt. And it's like this running gag of it's like, oh, he doesn't like her because of this, but he does like her. He doesn't want to admit it. And then there's this other weird running gag of Brent Spiner. He'll say something and then he'll do like this evil laugh and then he farts. And then there's silence. And then it goes to the next scene. And I'm like, it wasn't even funny the first time. And then they did it four more times. Uh, I mean, I'm not above laughing at a fart joke, but it's got to be something funny. I mean, speaking of Austin Powers, when Fat Bastard farts and talks about how bad it smells and describes it and everything, that was hilarious to me at the time. Where this was just kind of, I felt like kind of dumb. But He's showing in a montage like some of his disguises, and he dresses up like this Indian guy, and he's got the stereotypical Indian voice where it's like a white guy doing an Indian voice like Apu from The Simpsons. And I'm like, this aged horribly. This is incredibly racist. But the only thing that made me laugh is that he pulls out a flute and he's like trying to hypnotize the snake and he plays Kenny G, which also made me think of Wayne's World too, where Garth has a daydream about Kenny G. But that part made me laugh. And then soon after that, we get the Turtle Club thing. So they find out that there's like a cigar that's got the special label on it, band on it, and you can only get them at the Turtle Club. So they go undercover at the Turtle Club, and he dresses like a guy who looks like a turtle. Like he's got the bald head, he's got kind of like a pointed lip, he's got these big glasses on, and he's wearing this green suit, and the green jacket's like round and looks like a shell. Like I I just don't get it. Like how that was supposed to be funny, and like he mumbles things and says turtle a lot. It's like I I guess like maybe if little kids would find that funny. I don't know. And apparently people in my school back in 8th grade thought it was hilarious. But there's a weird scene where he's like talking to someone and then he jumps up and bites their nose off and then spits it back out and it lands on their face and goes back to normal. I can't even me trying to describe it is probably funnier than what actually happens in a movie. And I don't even know in what world this movie is supposed to take place in. This is very, very bizarre. I guess one of the more comical running sight gag things was Fabrizio, James Brolin's character, being used by Brent Spiner to get all these like priceless collectibles. Like he dresses up like Michael Johnson, who was an Olympic runner back in the day, to go and get the Declaration of Independence, and then and it's actually male Michael Johnson. And then another time he dresses up like Jesse Ventura to go get the Liberty Bell, which I was just happy to see Jesse Ventura. So that was a highlight of the movie. Uh, and then later he dresses up like Jessica Simpson. So, I mean, it's there's so many cameos in this that are just completely and utterly off the wall. Uh, and of course, his uh, disguises are flawless because he is a complete and utter master of disguise. While Dana Carvey's are all like, it's Dana Carvey playing a character. I think that's why this movie was made. It's like, okay, Dana's really good at voices and playing characters from SNL, you know? So let's just make a movie where we have an excuse for him to do that. And while the Turtle Man was annoying, really the only character he plays that really made me laugh was he plays Al Pacino as Scarface at this party. And like his mannerisms are down, the voice he does is down, and then it just gets completely and utterly ridiculous after that. Uh, it just made me laugh because of the how over the top and how much he actually kind of sounded like Pacino in Scarface. Uh, but I mean, I still admit it was pretty dumb. I had that as like basically my only good thing in this movie. Although Dana Carvey, he's doing his thing. He's playing these different characters. Maybe it was just the stuff he was given to work with in this movie wasn't helping him out a lot. But the Pacino one was by far the best one in my mind. Usually we do like the most memorable stuff. I have to say the most memorable thing is the turtle guy, just because that'll forever live rent free in my mind. Um, and it's not necessarily a good thing, so it's kind of notorious, infamous if you will. And really, other than that, like I said, the Pacino scene was my favorite part. I really think the beating the jokes into the ground was the worst part, and just the complete and utter like eye roll moments in this. I mean, I can't really knock it too much for its dated, culturally insensitive characters and stuff because, I mean, it's a movie that's 23 years old or 24 years old now, so I can't really hate it too much for that. The whole back and forth between Dana Carvey and Jennifer Esposito is really strange. It's like she thinks he's just the weirdest dude ever, and then she kind of sees him as more competent, and then all of a sudden she's in love with him, and it's just one of those abrupt turns that we've talked about in other movies where it just logically doesn't really make too much sense. I mean, she has a son that he's really good with, and she also has this boyfriend who's a complete and utter knob. So I guess it makes sense. And like he ends up beating up the boyfriend because he's cheating on Jennifer, and Pistachio accidentally knocks over like some drinks on him or something at a restaurant, and then he gets in a slap fight with him and beats him up. But yeah, then he is able to go into Brent Spiner's um area and like save everybody, and then his dad and his grandpa have to help out at the end and wear these different disguises, and then he get all these artifacts back to where they're supposed to be. And it was like the most abrupt ending ever. It's like they squeezed the ending in the last 5, 10 minutes, if that. uh it just felt really rushed. I mean, this whole movie feels really rushed. It's only like maybe an hour and 10 minutes long, uh which I think a lot of it is just the credits, and the during the credits they have like some bloopers and like some scenes that they didn't use. So it's a super short movie. It's officially listed as 80 minutes, but I think probably about 15 of that is credits and stuff. But I think I got stuff in trivia and facts about that. But yeah, I would say, some of the music's okay in it. It's got some decent songs. The score is halfway decent. Uh, I think Dana Carvey did all right for what he was given. Brent Spiner was okay as a bad guy. It was just the stupid fart joke that kept getting pounded into the ground. Jennifer Esposito, like, I don't even know if she really does too much anymore. When she popped up in this movie, I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that woman. And I don't know. I thought she was good. I mean, that's she's basically there to be like this attractive character that helps him out and everything. Uh, apparently she still is working. I haven't seen her in anything in a long time. Yeah, I think the last thing she did was last year. It was something called F plus. So what the hell that is? Maybe somebody else has a an idea of what that movie is. But I can get into the trivia and facts, I suppose. So in a 2023 interview, Brent Spiner said, despite the film's negative reception, he has no regrets about his involvement in the movie. He said, they're almost classics. I did a movie that is a classic, and I think it's called Master of Disguise. Dana Carvey wrote it, and he wrote it for his 9-year-old boys at the time. It's truly a film for 9-year-old boys. It didn't do well, but it was so much fun to work on. I love Master of Disguise and its terribleness. It was so much fun. So, I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense. If it was written for 9-year-olds, they would find that fart joke funny. It was originally scripted as an R-rated comedy. However, during rewrites, Dana Carvey steered the jokes toward a much younger demographic in an attempt to make his two sons, who were preteens at the time, laugh because the majority of his projects were not suitable for kids. His sons fell in love with PG movies. Uh, his sons felt live action PG movies were nerdy and not cool. So Carvey tried to make the movie feel like PG-13, but it was actually PG. Dana Carvey played the drums for Pistachio's turtle character during the credits, which I mean isn't surprising. He played the drum solo in um, Wayne's World as well. And it was also the church lady and did a rocking drum solo on SNL one time. So there's a 12-minute sequence in which Dana Carvey's character assumes the disguise of a person with dwarfism and crawls under a wedding party was cut to be too offensive. But I guess they left that Indian guy in there. So Barbara Streisand, who is actually James Brolin's wife, visited the set during the shooting of the Jaws scene. Dana Carvey ended up having lunch with her in the Robert Shaw makeup because there was no time for him to get out of the costume. Which is kind of funny. When asked on Twitter how to discipline their child for mispronouncing um, data, the name of Brent Spiner's character from Star Trek The Next Generation, Spiner jokingly suggested making the child watch this movie as a punishment. Which, I mean, seeing how old the kid was, or what, depending on how old the kid was, he'd probably enjoy it. The producers had to pay Madonna $17,000 for permission for Dana Carvey to say, Papa, don't preach. I'm in trouble deep. Which is completely and utterly ridiculous. The film is 80 minutes long, but only 69 minutes are actual movie, plus 2 minute opening credit sequence and a 9 minute end credit sequence. The original cut was around an hour and 45, but it was so badly incoherent that it had to be edited down to 69. To the surprise of Dana Carvey, 9 minutes of the cut footage were put at the end credits in order to pad the film to fill out a feature length runtime. That is ridiculous. In 2022, the podcast called The Turtle Club set out to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the movie by watching it at least once a week for an entire year. And I feel bad for those people. The last thing I got is this movie had a $16 million budget and it made 43 in the box office. That I just don't know how. I don't know how this movie made that much money. Uh, so grades, usually I have Caleb guess this, but since he's not here, I'll just tell you what they are. IMDb is a 3.4. Uh, the critic on Rotten Tomatoes is 1%. And yeah, I would say that's well deserved. The audience is a 37. I would say this movie kind of has somewhat of a cult following, uh, especially with people, in their 30s and maybe early 40s because of the time of when it came out and, the stupid Mr. Turtle Club thing. But yeah, I guess if it wasn't for the show, I probably would have never watched this movie just because I kind of knew what I was getting just from the trailer and from people quoting it and stuff. Uh, so it's kind of easy for me to grade it. I don't think it's horrible. Like it's got some things going for it. Seeing Dana Carvey play all these different characters is fun. I another scene that made me laugh is when he did the Shrek voice and the donkey voice, kind of a jab at Mike Myers, and he sounded just like Shrek and just like Eddie Murphy. It was crazy. Oh, and he did his George Bush character at the end too, so that's always fun. So, with that being said, I end up giving it a 1.5 out of 5. It's not a good movie. It's super short, so you don't have to commit too much time to it. It's got a good cast, but it's just so painfully awkward and annoying at times that I can't really give it anything higher than that. So this might be like the back to back two worst grades I've given movies consecutively. Uh, man, well, I know next week's going to be better because we're talking about The Room again, and it's going to be our 400th episode. Uh, and I mean, spoiler if you haven't listened to our other episode about The Room, we both really like that movie because it's so terrible that it's great. We actually saw it in theater together, so I'm really looking forward to talking about that movie again. If you guys are liking the show, please subscribe and share. You can follow us on social media. We're on pretty much every platform. You can check us out on YouTube and on TikTok. I haven't posted anything to TikTok in a long time, but there's still a bunch of stuff in there. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out. Go to our website, it's rockvideorental.com. And until then, as always, be kind and rewind.
Master of disguise.